Good afternoon to all. The Bible is a book inspired by the Holy Spirit. The Bible contains all things from the creation to the end of time. But to understand the Bible properly, the help of the Holy Spirit is the only help that exists in Catholic Church. The doctrine of Christ's promise is unique in that the Pope and the head of Bishop's head have been instructive in the instruction of the Church that God has given them the right to interpret. There are two parts in the Catholic Church Bible: the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is a collection of 46 books written by more than 30 different individuals over a period of 1,500 years before the Christ. The New Testament is a collection of 27 books written by 9 different peoples over the first century after the Christ. What we know today about an ancient event in the historical record that was created during the time mentioned in the historical document is not necessarily true of all information. Therefore, a critical approach has to be made in the historical record. The credibility of the historic document is consistent with some criteria used by the Department of History at the universities. Analyzing these criteria, we can see that the New Testament of the Bible is a reliable historical record of Jesus' life. So, from the first term, we have to understand that the life of the Jesus is mentioned in the New Testament. All the important things are true. Jesus was born from a virgin. Beginning at the age of 30, Jesus was publicly ministry of 3 years. During this period, there were many supernatural wonders preaching about God's kingdom. At the end of his life, Jesus was crucified, separated, and his body on the third day appeared to his disciples many times. History in the New Testament evaluates these things to be true based on the value. We can find this evidence in the New Testament as well outside based on Jesus' rise. For this reason, we understand that Jesus is the only incarnate God in history. God was once incarnated as man of human history, and it was through Jesus 2,000 years ago. There is no doubt then that Jesus' intersection is so important to mankind. So, God must have a special interest in writing them down without error. Such four Gospels in the New Testament deal with the life of Jesus. The evangelists of Matthew and John were among them, the 12 apostles of the Jesus. The Luke and Mark were closely associated with this apostolic community. So, they know the details of Jesus' life and actions clearly. The 4 Gospels were written by 4 different people. Yet, there is a high degree of correlation between these contents. This is another important proof of truth of Gospels. For this reason, we assume that Jesus' words and deeds are recorded in the Gospels without any error. Jesus is God, so this is not wrong for him. The Gospels come from Jesus. We therefore judge the Gospels to be true. The Old Testament was written before the time of Jesus. We read the Gospels that Jesus accepts the Old Testament books. Jesus is God's indication of God. He is not wrong. Therefore, we assume that the Old Testament is true. We read later that the recreation of the Jesus, the Holy Spirit accelerated the apostles. The Gospels of the New Testament were written by the apostles, as well as the people close to apostles. This is the Old Testament and the whole New Testament are the word of God. The first book of Bible, Genesis, begins with the words of God created the heavens, the earth in the beginning. The last book of the Bible, Revelation, says for what will happen at the end of time. The final judgment, the new heaven and the new earth, since God contains the first and last things in the Bible. It is not to assume that the two things between are included. Therefore, the Bible is the perfect book. The Bible describes everything that a person needs in order to save. Thank you.